Emily. On Valentine's Day, I watched my fiancé, Michael, walk into a hotel with my sister, Chloe. I didn't raise a fuss when Michael said he'd be working in the capital for the entirety of Valentine's Day. After all, he was the alpha of his pack. I was no stranger to the pressure and demands that came with such a role. Then, I stumbled upon the Valentine's Day package reservation on his phone. There was an embarrassingly large part of myself holding out hope that it was all leading up to a romantic surprise for me. That hope is shattered now. It was all too clear. Michael had lied about his business trip and was now spending Valentine's Day with someone else. The fact that his woman of choice was my half-sister made it all so much worse. The chilly February wind was my only company as my breaths came in short gasps. It took several moments to calm down, before I picked up my phone and called him. Hey, Emily. Everything okay? Michael had the gall to sound smooth and calm. I barely held back the tremor in my voice as I asked, just checking in. What are you doing right now? There was a long pause, followed by a performative sigh. I'm working, Emily. You know that. I'm literally walking into a meeting right now. Right. A meeting. I'll let you go then. I bit my lip hard to keep from screaming as I hung up the phone. He was still lying, and I couldn't wait any longer. I had to confront him. I marched into the hotel and made my way up to the room mentioned in the reservation. I took a moment to calm myself before I banged on the door. When there was no answer, I banged on the door again, this time harder and longer. When the door swung open, Michael and I stood face to face. Emily, he said in surprise, what are you doing here? I came to ask you that, I answered. Michael stumbled over his words, but was interrupted by a figure coming out of the bathroom behind him. It was Chloe, wrapped in only a towel. Her bare legs were shiny with fresh coat of lotion, and she brushed out her long blonde hair while it was still wet. What are you doing here, Michael? I asked. I felt like TNT that was ready to burst. I can explain, Michael nearly stammered. Please do, came a booming voice from behind me. I almost jumped out of my skin. I glanced over my shoulder to see a well-built man dressed in a freshly pressed suit. His cologne was fresh and masculine, and I got a sense that it was as expensive as his suit, along with his gold and quartz watch. The stranger was several inches taller than Michael with his dark hair styled perfectly. His face looked as though it was chiseled out of stone with a cold indifference resting in his dark eyes. He was incredibly handsome. Who are you? Michael asked. Chloe came up to the door, clutching the towel against her chest, her blue eyes wide as dinner plates. All you need to know, said the stranger to Michael, is that you're sleeping with my girlfriend. Chloe laughed, the sound echoing down the hall. I'm sorry, I am more attracted to men with a strong alpha presence, she said. She lifted one hand and placed it on Michael's shoulder. I looked between Michael and the stranger. She couldn't be serious. The stranger was ultimately far more attractive than Michael, although his presence was mysterious and cold. That's weird considering how weak his alpha energy is, the stranger said. Michael grit his teeth. I hope you have a better excuse, I said to him. Michael turned his eyes to me. I'm not heartless, Emily. I do love you, but I can't be with someone whose wolf is dormant. No one would want to mark you. My fists balled at my sides. It was true, my wolf was dormant. I lacked one of the things that made a werewolf, and that was a wolf. I can't shift, I don't have heightened senses, and I will not be able to sense my fated mate. A lot of werewolves said this made me less than a wolf. That was why, when Michael and I entered a relationship, I shared this important detail with him. At the time, he had said it didn't matter to him. Now, he was using it against me. It took every ounce of self-control in me to resist punching him. I'd have said something, but the stranger beat me to it. You shouldn't speak for others. His large, warm hand landed on the back of my neck and pulled me to him. Our lips smashed together. His heat spread through me from his lips. He quickly deepened our kiss, our tongues intertwining. At first, I didn't know how to respond to the stranger's sudden advances. But I got swept up in the passion of this wonderful, heated kiss, and was soon kissing him in return, my hands pressing on his chest. When our kiss broke, I took a step back, but it was nearly a stumble. My head was swimming. Michael and Chloe were both staring at us with their mouths open. Michael's furrowed brow told me he was angry, but he quickly grit his teeth and looked away. No doubt he knew he had no right to stop me. He was cheating on me, and anything he had to say to me would only make him look stupid. Without sparing Michael or Chloe another glance, the man wrapped an arm around my shoulders and turned us away. Let's go. I was in a daze as we entered the elevator, the man's arm still casually around me. I glanced up at him, trying to make sense of everything. How can you be so calm when you've been so horribly wronged? I asked him. His dark eyes met mine. Why care about someone who betrays you? I don't bother getting emotional. I seek revenge and move on. I chuckled softly at his nonchalance, imagining Michael's shocked face after the stranger had kissed. Their expressions were priceless. The man glanced down at me, eyes gleaming with some unspoken idea. Do you want to make them even angrier? My heart skipped a beat as I realized what he meant. His suggestion was clear. A one-night stand. A single evening of passion, fueled by a desire for retribution. Even if I ignored how handsome this stranger was, an undeniable energy thrummed between our bodies, pulling me towards him. Still, I hesitated. Thoughts of Michael flickered through my mind. Everything we had together. Everything I'd lost within a single day. Then I looked up, finding the man's metallic gaze locked on mine. It was like a spark had been lit somewhere deep in my belly and its flame was rapidly spreading throughout my entire being. Before I could make up my mind, the elevator reached the top floor. Then I realized that the man didn't press the button to go down. Top floor? My room. When we stepped inside the suite, I couldn't help but gasp. It was nothing like I had expected. Everything about it was perfect. The penthouse opened into a grand room with an enormous TV, a large leather sofa, and a grand piano over by the back wall. The entire back of the room was a massive window, beyond it a balcony fit with a hot tub. From the marble floor to the crystal chandelier, the place screamed elegance and money. None of it made sense. Earlier, Chloe made it seem like this man wasn't an alpha. Yet, everything about him screamed dominance. Why was he doing all this? And, most importantly, who was this man? Before I could think further, I felt his arms wrap around my waist from behind. All of his attention was on me, and each question in my mind disappeared. The answers hardly mattered at that moment. He pressed the hard planes of his body against me, hands lightly gripping my hips in appreciation. Leaning in, his breath was hot against my neck as his lips ghosted my sensitive skin. May I? He asked softly, voice laced with quiet intensity. It didn't take me long to make up my mind. Instead of answering, I kissed him. Emily. The clean and earthy scent of sandalwood with a hint of sage filled my nose. As I opened my eyes, I saw the white silk sheets on the other side of the bed. And they were empty. A thin stream of light came through the heavy curtains, and I knew it was already later in the day. Usually, I don't sleep so late, but the events of yesterday must have really worn me out. Between Michael cheating on me with my half-sister Chloe and heading to the bedroom with a man I had just met, it was a busy day. Now, I was waking up alone. It was almost a relief that he was gone already. Now I didn't have to face my shame. Still, a part of me had hoped to wake up in his arms. I thought we had a great night. Did I do something wrong? I shook my head to get rid of my thoughts of him. I need to get out of here. I tossed the sheets back and gathered my things. I tried to tidy up a little bit as I searched for my clothes. I sighed and ran my hand over my face. My life was already a mess, and I had to go and do something, or someone, and make it even worse. If anyone found out, I would be in serious trouble. Especially Chloe, she'd spread this around on the gossip train, and I'd never hear the end of it. Father would be furious, and my stepmother would only stoke the flames. I groaned and tugged on my clothes. I left the penthouse behind me, and I wished none of it had ever happened. I made my way home, but the pit in my stomach got larger as I got closer. It was as if I was walking into a dark cloud. The idea of facing my family after being gone all night made me sick to my stomach. As I always did, I reached up to take my necklace into my hand. It was an item of comfort for me, and one of the only things I had left from my mother. Only, when I went to touch it, it wasn't there. My heart nearly stopped, and a new wave of panic overwhelmed me. It felt as if the darkness was closing in. Things had gone from bad to worse. Did I lose it? Had he taken it? Logan. 8 missed calls from my father had me sneaking out of the hotel room while my one-night stand slept. From the voicemails, I already knew there was a storm brewing at home. All he said though was that I had been caught on camera and needed to get home as soon as possible. So that is what I did. I drove home, all the while wondering what the big deal was. What did he mean I was caught on camera? And what did it matter? For 2 years, I have been playing it safe. I kept my head down, did what I was supposed to do, and I always got results. All I wanted was to become the next alpha and to prepare for my campaign to be the next alpha king. When I went around casually, I didn't throw around my name, and instead I often introduced myself as a beta. So what's the big deal now? I arrived at the pack house, and before I got out of the car, I grabbed my jacket off the passenger seat. A lump of gold fell into my lap. I didn't remember putting anything in my pocket. As I picked up the golden necklace, I recognized the symbol on it. It was the family crest of the Blackwood Pack, a wolf howling in the trees. Chloe, my original date for Valentine's Day and official girlfriend of 2 weeks, was in the Blackwood Pack. But I don't remember her ever having a necklace like this one. I remember her complaining a lot about her sister though, Emily. I ran my thumb over the howling wolf, following the texture through the trees. Did I just sleep with my now ex-girlfriend's sister? I couldn't help but chuckle bitterly. What a small world. Chloe was dating me, but cheated on me with Michael, who was dating Emily. Now Emily and I have slept together. I got out of the car, squeezing the medallion in my hand. This doesn't feel like the type of thing I should have. I must have scooped it off the floor when I picked up my jacket. While I walked to the front door of the house, I put it in my pocket. I'd have to return it at the first opportunity I have. It'd have to wait until I finish handling whatever it was my father had determined was an emergency. Before I can think any more on it, I walk into my father's office. It's a large space, fit with a solid oak desk and matching bookshelves behind it. An executive chair was on the other side of the desk, and there sat my father. As usual, he was well dressed and garnished with gold jewelry. Finally, he said as soon as I walked in. "Alpha," I said, my voice and face black as a clean plate. "Take a look at this," he says as he slid a piece of paper across his desk. I stepped forward, and then I saw my stepmother and stepbrother sitting on the couch on the far side of the office. I ignored their smug faces. As I approached the desk, I saw the piece of paper. It was a picture, an unclear one, of Emily and me. "Explain," said my father. I picked up and pictured to get a closer look. The picture was from behind us. All that could be seen was that we were linked arms. Emily was looking to the side, allowing the camera to get a small profile that was really just the tip of her nose behind her hair. I looked forward, and the details of my face were hidden. "It's a picture," I said, "with no discernible features." "You think so?" "Everyone in here knew it was you," said my father. "Who is she?" Of course everyone knew it was me. My stepfamily was out to get me. My half-brother was also trying to become the next alpha, so they'd do anything to keep me from succeeding the position. I'd bet my fortune that it was one of them who took the picture in the first place. The only thing I didn't know for sure was if Emily or Chloe was in on it or not. My father, however, took my silence wrong. "That is not the kind of behavior I'd accept from you, Logan. You need to learn to think about the future and what your actions will do. If you want to be alpha, you need to be smarter. I'm about to step down as the alpha of this pack, and I thought you wanted to be next." Imagine the alpha messing around with girls. It was something my father would never forgive. Especially not from his heir. Remaining silent was not my style. "I am thinking about the future, and not just mine, but the future of the pack as well." "How so?" "That is the Blackwood Pack's alpha's daughter." I spared a glance at my stepfamily on the couch. They seemed shocked at the news. It would seem they didn't know who Emily was. This could be my chance to get ahead. An alpha, and especially a potential alpha, was stronger with a Luna at his side. "And who is she to you?" my father asked. "She is a strong candidate for my Luna. I need a strong, capable woman at my side, and Emily is perfect," I answered. I heard an audible gasp from my stepfamily, but I didn't pay any attention to them. Instead, I watched as my father leaned forward. "Is this true? Are you dating this woman?" "Yes, Alpha," I answered instinctively. I don't know what came over me. I wasn't normally this reckless, but this was a window of opportunity. Why haven't you said anything before? It hasn't been long, but things are getting serious more quickly than I thought. Well, then you should take it to the next step. This picture is the start of a scandal, but if she were your fiancé, then there would be nothing to be worried about. Yes, Alpha, make the arrangements quickly, before this gets out. I nodded and stepped back from the desk. Thank you, Alpha, I said. I left the office without another word. I would need to make arrangements with my beta as soon as possible. I needed to contact the Blackwood pack and arrange a meeting before things got out of hand. Emily. As soon as I arrived at home, I saw Chloe and Michael. It was Chloe who saw me first, and she didn't waste a moment in throwing herself at Michael for my benefit. I'm so glad you came here to see me. I can't stand to see them together. I want to get to my room as quickly as possible. I'm sorry it took so long. If I could spend every moment with you, I would. Chloe's laugh filled the foyer. The sound was like nails on a chalkboard. I hated it. I avoided Michael's gaze, even when I knew he saw me. I don't want to look at him, not after what he did to me. I'd expect it from Chloe, but never from him. The two were greeting each other with kisses and hugs and touches that disgusted me. I could only think that Michael and his family might have arrived shortly before I did. Just my luck. Michael's parents stood back, discussing something quietly with my father. I didn't hear them, and I didn't want to. This whole thing seemed like it was planned from the start. But it was an enormous betrayal to me. All they were doing was alpha business, and I didn't want to involve myself in it. They seemed to like doing dirty business, and I would have nothing to do with it. Sometimes, I wish I was never a part of this family. I'd run away if I could, but my inheritance, left behind by my mother, was being withheld from me. She'd left it for me on the condition that I would only get it when I married. In truth, I think she did this to try and prevent my father from keeping the money from me. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to work. I'd never even seen her will, so I had no way of trying to step in to claim it. Emily, there you are, said Chloe in a song-songy voice. I fought the urge to slap her as she hung from Michael's arm. That was my man. Or he had been. And she had no problems in taking him. It didn't seem like anyone else cared about that. Michael, there you are, said my stepmother as she came into the room with open arms. Did you two have a wonderful Valentine's Day? I froze in my tracks. Was I the only one who didn't know about Michael and Chloe? Did no one care that he was dating me first? Yes, it was wonderful, said Chloe. I glared over my shoulder at her. My father came up and greeted us all. Look at you two, you look great together, said my father. My hands clenched at my side, and I grit my teeth. We couldn't have asked for a better partner, cooed Michael's mom. No need to be so frustrated, Emily. We have selected a new partner. I am sure you will find the company of Gregory Barron to be more suitable for you, said my stepmother, Hannah. Gregory Barron, he was the retired alpha of another pack, and he was at least twice my age, if not more. Based on her smirk, she knew it was a horror story for me. He was a wealthy man, which meant a lot of benefits to Blackwood if the packs were to build an alliance. He's already mentioned that he doesn't mind that your wolf is in hibernation. Not as long as you bear him sons, continued Hannah. It's an excellent partnership, my father added. Do you really think so? I asked, horrified. Over the years, my father had grown increasingly cold to me. It used to break my heart, but I suppose it shouldn't surprise me anymore. He clearly favored Chloe. You can't afford to be picky any longer. You've embarrassed this family enough. Now Mr. Barron has offered a hefty sum in exchange for making you his bride, said Hannah. Money. That was the answer to everything. They were selling me to another man in order to fill the pack's bank account. After all, the pack was struggling with finances. They'd even spent my inheritance, the only thing I had left of my mother, to keep themselves afloat. The inheritance was supposed to be given to me for my own wedding and the life that followed. It was a substantial sum that came with a large amount of land. I suspected it had been used by my stepmother and her pack that had joined Blackwood. I tried to claim my inheritance back time and time again. No matter what I did or what I threatened, they never gave in. I didn't have the finances to pursue a lawsuit, and they knew it. In the end, that was the only way I was going to get what I was owed. I don't need Mr. Barron's money. Not if you'd give me my inheritance, I said. You don't need the inheritance. Once you're married, you will have all the money you could ever want, said Hannah. Besides, the pack needs it. And you owe it to the pack to do something useful for them, said my father. Behind my parents, Chloe snickered. Any excuse they had to bring me down, they did. It was often about how my wolf was in hibernation. To them, that meant I wasn't a wolf at all. It made me the family's punching bag. Suddenly, my stepmother charged forward. What is that? She asked, pointing at my neck. Is that a hickey? Asked Chloe as she snickered. I touched the side of my neck, but I didn't know what it was. I don't remember seeing anything in the mirror either, but I barely had a chance to look. Did you sleep with him, Emily? The man from last night? Michael asked, his eyebrows furrowing. I didn't confirm or deny it. Ah, that's cute. You two make a good fit. He's just some beta from a small pack, I'm sure you two had a good time. You have more in common with him than our alpha, Michael, Chloe said. She grinned as she looked up at Michael, her hand rubbing his chest. Michael barely noticed. His eyes were on me. A beta? My father said, his voice rumbling along the walls. His anger made me flinch. This is unacceptable. Hannah chimed in. We are already in talks about your marriage. Now you've gone and sullied yourself with a beta? Are you kidding me, Emily? How much are you going to mess things up for this pack? My father said. The tone of his voice was enough to bring tears to my eyes. I don't even know what I was thinking last night. I'd slept with a man I didn't know. I'd given myself to him when no other man had ever touched me before. For a long time, my father had told me my only value was in my womanhood. To them, I was already broken, so the rest of me had to be perfect. Now I'd shattered whatever was left of me. I'm sorry, I said, my voice soft. I knew I had done wrong. I didn't argue with that. That is not enough. This is a crime against your pack, against your alpha, and against your father. You are to go straight to your room. I don't want to hear a sound out of you until you're ready to dedicate yourself to Gregory Barron. I wanted to explain myself, so I resisted my father's authority. He was trying to use his power as an alpha to control me. I can't argue that things got out of control last night. But why am I the only one to blame here? Chloe and Michael have started a relationship behind my back, and no one seems to even care that they're hanging all over each other. Michael was my fiancé. We have decided that Chloe is a better fit for our pack, said Michael's father. Maya snapped to him, and I glared. So this was all pre-planned? And no one thought to tell me? I said. There was no reason for you to know, said Hannah. I almost exploded, but I bit my lip instead. The whole situation involves me. Everyone is okay with letting me be betrayed by my family and the man I was supposed to marry? What deals go between alphas is none of your concern. All you need to do is stand by and do what you're told, my father said. My fingernails bit into my palms as I clenched my fists. Does my life mean so little to all of you? I felt like their puppet. That was all they ever treated me as. Michael was supposed to be my escape. But now it seemed like none of it was real. The worst part was that I fell for it. Tears threatened in my eyes, but a knock on the door behind me stopped this conversation in its track. My father pushed me aside to open it. Even if this was a tough conversation, I'm not about to leave. Greetings, Alpha Crowley. My name is Anthony Martin, and I am Beta of Titan Fang Pack. I've come with gifts from my Alpha, as well as a message. Behind the Beta, several Omegas, the lowest-ranking werewolf, were holding numerous luxurious gift boxes and bags. Emily. My father was impressed, and Hannah and Chloe crowded in to see more. Hannah pulled me back and tried to force me down the hallway to my room. I refused. We had a conversation to continue, and this was only a momentary interruption. I won't be pushed aside this time. What is all this for? He asked. My alpha is offering these gifts to the family. I also must speak to the young lady of the house, your daughter. Excellent. Come on in, everyone, my father said. Several Omegas entered, each carrying an armful of gifts. They were fine items from expensive shops from all around the capital. And there were a lot of them. I'd never imagined so many designer items. They were always out of my reach. I can't imagine why the alpha of Titanfang would want them delivered to our little pack. I'd like to speak to your daughter, answered Beta Anthony. Seeing the gifts, Chloe was quick to step forward. I'm his daughter. Were you at the Capitol yesterday? The Beta asked. Yes, I was. And which hotel were you at? The Gold Sun. Congratulations, my lady. It seems as though the alpha has fallen in love at first sight. How would you like to be Luna? Chloe squealed so loud, I had to turn down the volume on my phone. I wanted to puke. How can Chloe, with her awful personality, be so popular? Titanfang was one of the largest packs in the area, if not the largest. Its power was immense, and the alpha was rumored to be running for Alpha King in the near future. It was no shock to me that Chloe would leap on the opportunity to be with him. Michael, apparently, did not feel the same. Hold on, just a second. He started, but Chloe put her hand on his arm. This is an excellent opportunity, Michael. Don't ruin this for me, she said. I watched as she squeezed Michael's arm, and he winced. Chloe never cared about Michael. All she cared about was getting the highest position possible. Bringing me down at the same time was a bonus for her. Luna of the Titanfang pack was an honor. With the alpha promising to run for king, his Luna would be queen. It was a title anyone would be envious of. If you accept, there will be an engagement party in 3 days. We will take care of all the details, so all you have to do is show up with your family, said Beta Anthony. Chloe was beaming from ear to ear. That's fast, said my father. It may be fast, but the alpha feels strongly about making his relationship official now. Of course. I will definitely be seeing him soon, Chloe said sweetly. My father didn't seem as sure, but a look at the boxes of gifts Beta Anthony brought in seemed to change his opinion. What will your answer be? Asked Beta Anthony. I'd like to tell the alpha myself, but I will wholeheartedly accept the proposal. The forced sweetness in her voice made me sick to my stomach. Chloe had to have everything. First, she takes my man, and now she is hopping off to the next one at the promise of riches and power. Now hold on, Michael said. He didn't manage to get Chloe's attention, so he turned to my father. We had a deal. There isn't much I can do, Michael. There is another alpha involved, and his pack is more powerful. We can't go against his wishes, said my father. I shook my head. They were all just as greedy as the next. It made me worry about the future of the pack. This kind of selfishness would be our downfall. That absolutely can't be true, said Michael, this time to Beta Anthony. Last night, I was. Chloe interrupted him by grabbing his arm and squeezing. Come on, Michael, we all know we were playing around, she said. That sickeningly sweet tone was back in her voice. It made my teeth hurt. Playing around? Said Michael's mother, looking to her husband. We already had a deal, said he. Nothing has been made official yet. If this is what Chloe wants, then I won't stop her, answered my father. I bit my lip. Once again, Chloe was lying. How did the alpha of Titanfang even manage to see her? Will you all be there in 3 days? Asked Beta Anthony. For a moment, I thought he caught me, but it was so fast that I wasn't sure. What was that? Why did he look at me? Yes. Chloe promised. Thank you. I will report back to the alpha. Thank you for your time. Beta Anthony bowed his head, then he and all the Omegas filed out of the room. What is going on? Michael asked Chloe as soon as the door was shut. Sorry, Michael, but this is an opportunity I can't pass up. It was fun while it lasted, though, she said, giving him a little tap on the shoulder. His jaw clenched. I knew something was wrong. Michael's mother suddenly chipped in. It seems the alpha was spotted at the hotel with a fling. Now that a rumor has started, he has decided to take action. Michael's mother was searching on her phone while the beta was talking, and now she clearly found something. Michael's mother showed my family a picture. Everyone crowded around to take a look at it. I was at the back of everyone, and I stood up on my tiptoes to try and get a look at it. The picture looked awfully familiar. It was of a man and a woman, their backs to the camera. They were walking down a hallway in the hotel, arms linked. Before I had a chance to see any more details though, Chloe put it down. As long as I'm marrying the Titanfang Alpha, it doesn't matter to me. I'm done with all the humiliation, said Michael's mother. Let's leave. But remember, this won't be the end of this, Michael's father said. He and his wife exited the house, but Michael hesitated. He looked over his shoulder at Chloe, and she smiled at him. He then turned his eyes to me, and I made sure to look away. I'm not about to go running back to him, if that was what he was expecting. This is unacceptable, grumbled Michael, then he stormed out after his parents. Everything is going perfectly, said Hannah immediately after Michael left, hugging Chloe tight. Excuse me, I said, what about me? I haven't gotten so much as an apology. I've been wronged, didn't I deserve that much? Why would anyone apologize to you? Chloe said with a smirk. No one but you has done anything wrong. That's right. Emily, you are going to marry Mr. Barron since you messed everything up, said my father. No, I won't, I answered. All anyone ever did to me was use me. All Gregory Barron wanted was a wife young enough to bear him children. For Michael, it was a pack alliance that would allow Blackwood to grow enough to rival Titan Fang. Then there was Chloe. She'd been bullying me ever since my father married her mother. She had always felt superior than me and prettier than me, and the fact that my wolf was dormant only made her feel better about herself. Young lady, said my father, if you don't marry him, you will be punished. Fine, then punish me. You are confined to your room. Think about your future, and the future of the pack. You'll stay in there until you agree to marry Gregory Barron. Emily. I spent the next 3 days trapped in my room. I only occasionally got meals from the staff, and sometimes even those were forgotten. They were sometimes oversalted, which gave me the impression that Chloe was further sabotaging them. I wasn't surprised she would go that far. But I was surprised that she had time with all the commotion about the engagement party. I spent my days surfing the web, reading books, and painting on the easel that had once been my mother's. There wasn't anything else to do but wait. However, if it meant not agreeing to another marriage planned by my parents, I'd love to stay there for weeks, maybe even months. On the third morning of being trapped in my room, Chloe came marching in. She didn't knock or announce herself, but barged in, stomping her high-heeled shoes. Well, dear sister, I have come to give you an opportunity, said Chloe with a sly smile. I'd been sitting on my bed, reading a book. I barely even looked up at her. What is that? I asked. You'll have one chance today to get out of your room. Come and help me get ready for my engagement party, and then maybe I'll consider allowing you to come too. She phrased it like I had a choice. I had no doubts that she already went to my father, and he gave her permission to treat me like a servant today. It was another form of punishment. Yes, Chloe, I answered. To my disappointment, it took 3 hours to pick out a dress for Chloe. I'd never seen her so anxious before. It didn't help that we didn't know much about the alpha of Titan Fang. The man kept a low profile. Chloe desperately wanted his approval. And she didn't know how to get it. In her mind, the wrong dress would ruin his impression of her. She needed to look like the refined and elegant lady she thought he wanted. If you don't choose something soon, we are going to be late, I reminded Chloe. She paced around her large walk-in closet. Occasionally, she stopped to inspect a dress, but then she'd toss it to the floor. I feel like none of these outfits are good enough. I need to look my best, and these dresses are all old. If I wanted to get out of here, I had to find a way to help her. Maybe it's about the right accessories, I said. I picked out a white dress embroidered with gold roses. This dress screams bride-to-be, right? Now you just need to pair it with fresh items. After looking through her closet, I found a golden scarf, gold shoes lined with rhinestones, and a necklace with a gold heart pendant. Not bad, I guess, said Chloe as she looked it over. But you forgot rings. I don't think you should wear any. This is an engagement party, right? That means your groom-to-be will probably give you a ring, and you will want that ring to stand out. Chloe giggled. I guess you are good for some things. Instead of rings, she grabbed a series of gold bangles. Get ready to do my makeup. If I thought picking out a dress was challenging, then I wasn't ready to do Chloe's makeup. All she did was bark orders at me and tell me I was doing it wrong before finally accepting the way I did her makeup. An hour later, Chloe was finally ready to go, and I was excused to get myself ready. My stepmother was waiting by my bedroom door. You're very lucky to be going to this party. Be sure not to embarrass this family or upstage Chloe. Pick out the simplest dress you have, wear no makeup, and no jewelry. You have 15 minutes. You'd better be in the car by then or we will leave with you. With a huff, Hannah turned and left. I grabbed one of the only dresses I had, which was a black summer dress printed with light pink daisies along the bottom of the skirt. I wore a pair of black ballet flats, pulled up my hair into a loose bun, and grabbed my phone. I made it to the car in time as the family got in. The party was at our family's vacation house on an island outside the capital. My father had volunteered it to the Alpha of Titanfang to make a good impression. The house was usually only used in the summer when we wanted to go on trips. It was a 10-bedroom villa located right on the beach. It made for a perfect location for an engagement party. Hannah and Chloe, along with a few amigas, had spent most of their time directing and making the place look perfect. All the furniture on the first floor had been moved into storage to make more room in the house. They'd hired a caterer, a classical music band, and who knows what else. It was packed full of alphas and betas from packs all around the area. Omegas walked around the room with gold trays, carrying drinks and various appetizers. My job was to stick to Chloe and help her with whatever she needed. As the party started, she became surrounded by friends and strangers alike. When I wasn't running to grab Chloe a drink, fixing her curls, or washing her shoes, I tried to listen in to their conversations. These kinds of events are a great way to get information. "So Chloe, how did you meet the alpha?" asked a blonde she-wolf. "Oh, it's the sweetest thing. We met one night at the Gold Sun, and he saw me from across the room. He told me I was the most beautiful girl in the world, and that he had fallen in love at first sight. I had to resist rolling my eyes. I didn't know the alpha could be so romantic," said a he-wolf with a snicker. "Usually he's so cold," said a mousy she-wolf. "Not with me. When we are together, there's so much fire between us. You might not even recognize him as the same man," Chloe said with a musical laugh. "How did you do it?" asked another she-wolf. "It's easy. All I have to do is be myself. The alpha appreciates that much. He's so in love with me, I don't even have to do anything at all." The crowd swooned, and I wanted to gag. Chloe's story were all made up. She didn't even know what the alpha looked like, or at least she didn't think she did. She doesn't even know who he is. That was when the alpha of Titanfang walked over to us. My heart skipped a beat. It was him. The stranger from my one-night stand. Chloe's mouth dropped open. She hadn't expected the alpha of Titanfang to be her ex-boyfriend, the very same one she had cheated on. He didn't even seem to notice her. His eyes were on me. I blushed. His stare was so intense that it felt like he was reading my mind. It didn't help that he was so incredibly handsome. He wore a classic black suit with a crisp white shirt. His hair was styled carefully so that not a strand was out of place. He towered over everyone else and commanded all of the attention in the room. He stood before me and Chloe, as I stood behind her. Chloe giggled, but he didn't pay her any attention. Those dark eyes didn't leave me. My heart was thundering so loud, I worried he would hear it. The room started to spin. I think I forgot how to breathe for a moment. "Hello, my fiancé. The party is about to start, why aren't you dressed yet?"